Gang, there's a boatload of new releases that are soon to land, and I'm going to let you know what they are in this video. And I got a couple of surprise ones also that have not even been announced. You're going to find out about them coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yeah, today we're talking about upcoming releases, new fragrances that should land very soon. Some of them that I've actually previewed in the past, and a lot of them are going to be landing very soon. Some have launched already as well. But really exciting fragrances I'm really keen to try. I don't know if you guys have tried these, but you're going to find out what I'm talking about. But I'm going to get to a couple of fragrances that haven't been officially announced, but I heard about them, and I'm going to tell you about them. One of them is from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Don't have a name and don't have a notes breakdown, but from what I hear, it's another freshie, which is disappointing already. I don't really like the freshies too much from this house already. It's kind of becoming like an overly freshy brand, and they just launched 724, although it was like a relaunch because it was already a fragrance before. Now we have another freshie. Apparently it either uses matcha or mate note. I think it's mate. This is the information I received from someone who I cannot really disclose, but there is something new coming from MFK, and I think it's landing in June, so we shall see how it is. Moving on, two more fragrances from one house that I have already tested one of them, and it hasn't been officially announced, but Cartier has PASHA ABSOLUE launching very soon, which I got to smell. PASHA ABSOLUE is so different than the other PASHAs. I mean, it doesn't have that old school PASHA smell, and it doesn't have the PASHA Parfum smell. This is uber smoky and uber woody. So, I mean, when I got this sample and I was sampling it, and I was like, wow, this is so different. It's still called a fougere, but I feel like the fougere is hidden under the smoke and the wood. So we'll see and test it fully when it's actually launched, but PASHA ABSOLUE from Cartier should be launching, and I'm glad that they're doing more flankers of this series. Personally, I always felt like PASHA Parfum was a great designer launch for men. Something great for men, of course, not like the disappointing fragrances that a lot of designers launch over and over again that smell the same. And the original PASHA, the Cartier, is also really great, but very old school. So the next fragrance is in the Cartier luxury collection, and it's called Oud and Vanilla. So this one I have not smelled, although I know it's coming. And this one actually is very exciting as well. Oud and Vanilla is a great a combination for me. And you know, I like Cartier's luxury collection, even though they're not necessarily very inexpensive, like they're very expensive is what I should say. They do seem to have original things, you know, they're not smelling like every other designer fragrance. Even in the luxury world, sometimes they start smelling like other fragrances. So this one is also very exciting for me. So three fragrances, one from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, although I'm a little cautious about the Maison Francis Kurkdjian because it is another freshie, but the two Cartier sound really great. Let's move on to a fragrance I did get to sample when it was announced last year at Escentric, which I'll be heading to in March. If you guys are attending Escentric, do let me know. Send me a message so we can meet up there. But this is from the house of JACQUES, and it's Vetiver Gris. I smelled it, and it smells really great. I like what they did with this one, and you know, JACQUES has Iri Gris, and I believe they're working on an eau de parfum version of Iri Gris because they relaunched it several years ago as a parfum, but now they're launching this Vetiver Gris, which is actually created by Jean-Christophe Herault over at IFF. If you guys don't know this perfumer, he created Aventus, of course. So he's the perfumer for Aventus. It features vetiver, hazelnuts, iris, bitter orange, Sinfonide, geranium, neroli. Really wonderful fragrance. I actually really like it. I can't wait to smell it again. And as soon as I can report on it, I will report on it. Moving on to three Escentric Molecules fragrances. These are three M1 collection fragrances. We already got the patchouli, the mandarin orange, and the iris. And I sampled these already as well. In fact, somebody very nice, I can't disclose my resource, had given me samples of all three, and I really love the ginger and I really love the black tea, and the Guaiac is fairly nice, but it's basically taking the ISOE Super from the Escentric Molecules Molecule 1 and adding the ginger to it in one of the fragrances, and then the same fragrance, the ISOE Super in Molecule 1, and adding black tea. The black tea is really super lovely. Really, it starts out kind of smoky, woody, and then it becomes that kind of cozy tea that we kind of know in tea fragrances. And then the Guaiac wood, I think, is going to be my least favorite. Just like in the first trio with the mandarin orange and the patchouli, the iris became my least favorite, and I feel like the Guaiac wood is going to be my least favorite in this three fragrance drop that they're doing with the three fragrance launches. Are you guys fans of Escentric Molecules? Do you enjoy Molecule 1? Now you have 6 different options of Molecule 1 fragrances, of course, and 4 out of the 6 I think are going to be really nice. I like the patchouli and the mandarin separately, of course, and then of course now I like the ginger and black tea. So let me know if you guys are excited for this particular launch of these fragrances. Those fragrances actually have exclusively launched for Saks Fifth Avenue, but they will be making their debut at other stores early March. So as soon as I get my hands on it, I will review it. So Liquid Imaginaire has a flanker. They have a flanker too, one of their most popular fragrances. In fact, late last year I featured it in a festive fragrances video, Dom Rosa, and now we've got Dom Rosa Millesime. So Dom Rosa was created by Sonia Constant. She does a lot of Tom Ford fragrances. She actually has her own line, I believe it's called Ella K. But now she's done a Millesime version. I'm assuming this is more concentrated, more luxurious. We shall see, but if you don't know about Dom Rosa, it's that sparkling champagne, but more like a wine rose champagne thing. Really delicious fragrance, very effervescent, really like it. Also has some light smoky touches and woods and things like that. So I'm looking forward to this one. Sounds very exciting because I really enjoy the first one, the original. I like the idea of wine and fragrances, which is kind of unique, but that's kind of like a sparkling rosé wine, or more like a blood or a dark red wine, I should say, because I get the combination of the champagne bubbles and also the smell of the wine in that. So that is something I'm looking forward to. Moving on to the house of Gucci, Bloom Intense is launching very soon. Finally, we're getting an intense version of Bloom. It's finally happening. Once again, created by Alberto Moria, so they boosted up or intensified the Bloom fragrance, which sounds really, really nice actually. They've added patchouli, oak moss to this, and I love these two notes, and I think it makes fragrances really substantial and kind of butches them up a little because, you know, it's a floral fragrance after all. We've got tuberose, night blooming jasmine, ginger, mandarin, pear, coconut, and of course regular jasmine in addition to the night blooming jasmine. So this one sounds really, really great for a fragrance. We'll see how it is. Moving on to the house of Raja Parfums, this is Taif Oud. I think this used to be a in boutique or in-store exclusive. Now it's being launched everywhere. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. And the idea of Taif Rose is great. I really enjoy Paris Monte Carlo's Taif Rose. A great fragrance. I have the extract and I love it. Really, really love it. But this is Taif Oud, and I'm really, really curious to smell it. It features musk, aldehydes, bergamot, patchouli with Taif rose, cassis, cloves, ylang ylang, geranium, incense, oud, jasmine, benzoin. A lot of stuff happening. Always very complex with the notes for Raja Parfums. They make fragrances very complex. They also make them very complex even in the further in the base notes, but sometimes the top and the heart are kind of, you know, they start plain and eventually just you go through an adventure. But this one seems like fairly balanced out, with top notes being kind of substantial as well, along with the heart notes being a little bit boring, and then getting into the base notes to become a really exciting fragrance. I really enjoyed Taif Rose, and we'll see how great this one is. If anyone's sampled any of the fragrances I'm speaking about today, do let me know. Put a comment down on what you think about them. If you haven't sampled these, let me know if you're curious to get your nose on these as well. So moving on to the house of Memo Paris, we've got Diptyque or Diptyque. a new fragrance from this house, and always curious to check out the fragrances from this house. Really enjoy some of them, and this features notes of cedar, currant buds, Sichuan pepper, juniper berries, raspberry, patchouli pepper, mandarin, bitter orange, red currant. Seems like a fruity, citrus, woody fragrance. I think these are pretty popular styles. They do make some great fragrances, but nobody talks about this brand. Are you a fan of Memo Paris? What are your thoughts about this brand? And does Diptyque sound great to you? I haven't been seeing their fragrances a lot lately. I don't know what's going on with the brand. They used to sell them at Neiman's. They're not there anymore. They sell them at ZGO here in San Francisco. So I need to go explore some of their later offerings. When I was in Paris, I did go to their boutique, and of course I caught their Wings collection of fragrances. Their exclusive fragrances that are only in Paris. If you guys ever go check them out. I think that some of the fragrances from the Wings collection are pretty nice. But let's move on to Montale. We've got a fragrance called Odyssey. Odyssey. This is an interesting combination of notes. Once again, it's an oud fragrance, and this is what they do, is oud, lots of oud. Give me some oud, please. This is Mate Absolute, oud, ambergris, lavender, amber, ginger, musk, black and pink pepper, bergamot, lemons. It's a strange combination. We shall see. I'm not the biggest fan of Mate. I am, and I don't like it. Maybe it's matcha I don't care for. I don't know. These two notes are not like my most loved notes. It's kind of a cautiously I smell things with these two notes. Sometimes they turn out really great. Sometimes I don't care for them. So I'm not sure about this one, but this still sounds exciting because of course it is Montale after all, and they do some really beastly fragrances, and of course they do oud really well as well. So Odyssey sounds really nice. Moving on to the house of Thameen, and I still need to dig into this house. They do have some great fragrances, slowly really kind of circling to them and really enjoying some of their offerings. They have a new one in a clear bottle with yellow juice, or maybe it's frosted yellow, I'm not sure. It's called Fanfare. This is a fragrance created by Bruno Jovanovic. Features notes of musk, patchouli, vetiver, rosemary, vermouth, juniper berry, floral notes, bergamot, lemon, and neroli. Yeah, I need to dig into this house. What do you recommend from Thameen? There's a few that I like, and I always forget the names of the fragrances of this house. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm not really embracing them yet, like totally taking them on and things like that. I think there's one, Peregrina. I think that one's a really nice one. And there's a few others that I think I like too. But let me know what I should do, and I want to kind of come back and do a video. Like after I come back from my trip to Europe, I'm headed there for a month. I want to come back and dig into Thameen, and let me know which fragrances you want to hear about first. Put a comment down so I can find out, and let me know what you think about this new fragrance from this house called Fanfare. So a new one from the house of Serge Lutens is called Écrin de Fumée. This really sounds really great. I really want to get my nose on this one. I'm hoping it's launched by the time I end up in Paris and go to their store, but it features notes of tobacco, cacao, smoke, rum, and woods. Definitely the kind of fragrances that Serge Lutens releases, and this one's really exciting. I can't wait to get my nose on it. If anyone's gotten their nose on this one, do let me know. Put a comment down and let me know what you think about it, or if you like it or hate it. The smoke part kind of bugs me a little bit. I hope the smoke is not overwhelming, but I like the idea of tobacco, cacao, and rum for sure. Now moving on to Molten Brown, they recently discontinued their Russian leather fragrances. I still have my bottles. I have the EDT and the EDP, I think. I can't remember, but they discontinued that line in their launch. They didn't discontinue the line. They discontinued those two fragrances. Russian leather is no more at Molten Brown. They are launching new fragrances called Dark Leather. So these two fragrances in EDP and EDT are created by Sylvie Fisher, and I looked up the Russian leather and they're created by a different perfumer, but the fragrances do seem to have similar notes, so I'm not 100% sure what's going on. Are they just renamed? Are they redone? A different perfumer created Russian leather, EDT and EDP, and now a different perfumer, a new perfumer, is creating dark leather, EDP and EDT. I'm not sure, but the EDP features elemi resin, leather, geranium, and lavender. And then the EDT features notes of leather, black tea, and pine. So I'm curious to get my nose on them and to compare and see if they are similar, because I still have my bottles in the EDP and EDT of the Russian leather, so we shall see. And then finally, until we get to the bonus section, there's two fragrances from the house of Rammstein, Sex EDP and Sex Elixir. These fragrances are becoming so X-rated from this house. What do you guys think about them? And also, they're so hard to get. Initially, on this next trip I was going to do, I was going to go to Germany, but somehow it turned out that I'm going to northern France instead of heading towards Germany. So I'm not going to be able to get my hands on any Rammstein fragrances, sadly. But this new one, Sex EDP, is created by Michelle Mulhausen. It features notes of coffee, tobacco, vetiver, sage, immortelle, tonka beans, sandalwood, nutmeg, heliotrope, benzoin. This one really sounds great, and their fragrances are so inexpensive. You can get them in Europe for about 35 euros, I think. I don't know about the elixir. The elixir is a little different and has animalic notes, and I believe it's an oil. So it's got skin note, jasmine, civet, woods, sandalwood, musk, costus, and balsamic notes. This costus note is a scary note. I don't really love it. So if they put it in, you know it's going to be very animalic. And not only do they have civet, they have costus together. Whoa, stay away. But they could do it really nicely. Who knows? I don't know. If they put in a tiny amount of costus, it might do some wonders to the perfume. If they overdose it, it's gonna be nasty. Anyway, we'll find out what it is. But Sex Elixir and Sex EDP from Rammstein is exciting to me either way. I'd like to smell them to see what they smell like. And those are the last two fragrances for you today. Let me know your thoughts on these new launches, new fragrance launches. Let me know about the first three that have not really been announced yet. I'm sure maybe by the time this video airs, they'll be announced. And I'm also hoping for the Cartier to be out by the time I get to Paris or France or even Italy by the time I get there. I want to get my nose on those new Cartier fragrances because I really love the whole PASHA line. More about the PASHA fragrance rather than the Oud and vanilla. But let me know your thoughts on all the fragrances today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. I should also say, let me know if there's anything else that you've heard that's coming out that hasn't really been officially announced. I'd like to find out. But either way, guys, please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Alright guys, I wanted to leave these two fragrances off in the bonus section because I've already featured one of them in a video like this, Le Papier from Diptyque. I'm going to get to that and do a first impressions on camera because I have a sample of Le Papier here. I hope that focuses. But there's also another fragrance that's launching very soon from Diptyque. I think it'll launch by the summertime. It's called Eau Nabati. I don't know anything about this one. I have heard it's launching. I've seen online that there's some, topic subjects on different websites about it. So I know that's coming, and it's coming after Le Papier. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick first impressions of Le Papier for you on camera here so you guys get an idea. Unless you've already sampled it, you don't have to watch this. But I don't think it's officially launched yet. It will be launching sometime in March, so let's go ahead and smell it. But what it smells like, or actually what I should say is the notes are mimosa, musk, white musk, sesame, and woods. So this is kind of in line with the other three fragrances. I think Orpheon, it's Opsis, and then of course Fleur de Peau to be powdery. But mimosa is a yellow flower that has light almondy undertones to it, but definitely has this kind of like very childlike soft touch to the note. It's a very, very beautiful, very spring-like note, but it's got the sesame. Of course, it says it's got woods and white musk and you know, regular musk. So let's smell it. So to me, this smells like mimosa for sure, but definitely a little more, not necessarily like what I'm used to smelling with mimosa, its signature smell. I think it's covered up quite a bit with lots of musk. There's musk and white musk supposedly here. So there's an overdose of muskiness here. So it's a musky fragrance. It's kind of like Fleur de Peau, Opsis, and of course Orpheon, and very powdery. You definitely get lots of powderiness from mimosa. And then there's some light, very, very light sesame under there. Sesame nuttiness, I guess. But definitely the presence of woods is really here as well. I think this will be fine. I think I might enjoy this one a little more than Orpheon, but again, it's in that same ballpark. I really do enjoy Fleur de Peau a lot. This might come after Fleur de Peau, but will it come before Opsis or after? We'll have to do a test when I have the fragrance. The Fleur de Peau, Orpheon, Opsis are all EDPs. This will be an EDT because it comes in the white box like this. So the white boxes are EDP, whereas the black sample boxes are EDP. Anyway, those are my thoughts today. I left this off into the bonus section because, as I said, I had already mentioned Le Papier in the regular section of another video like this that came just before this. One last thing I should say, those of you that are fans of Benjoin Bohème, there is another thing that's happening. Apparently they are changing the bottle. So it'll no longer be in that kind of cracked bottle. It'll go into the regular dark bottles, and it'll have a gold label on it, just like Orilla or Opsis. Anyway, that's all I have for you. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a good one. Bye-bye.